kind of a mass culture we live in, and it makes you look like something or act like something that you really aren't. You know, it's like a falseness. It's like a mass personality. I don't want to be a mass personality. I don't want to be a one dimension. I want to be me. I want to be human. I want to be in an atmosphere that is free, that is open, that is devoid of dictators telling you how to do your thing, okay? We dress a certain way, we walk a certain way, we talk a certain way, we create a certain way, we paint a certain way, we make love a certain way. You know, all of these things we do in a different, unique, specific way that is personally ours. And we decided that it is time for us to take over our own lives and do it the way we know we want to do it, as opposed to having someone else continuously tell us how we're supposed to do something because they are viewing us through their eyes, not through our eyes. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why do we do this?
You gotta be like right on.
Oh, so I have to talk it. Yeah.
It's all good.
No, I didn't think we were.
You can love yourself.
No, I'm bumping right now, man. The party in here, dude. If you feel like tuning in, there's yours right there. You got the pioneers up in there. Yeah, you hear me now, huh? You
Yeah,
sound good.
I got you. Yeah.
Cool. What were you saying though? We got a couple minutes before we go.
I was saying, how many times, like in a month or whatever, that you do the podcast?
We try to do once a week.
Okay.
Normally Mondays with vocal acts and Fridays with touring music. But I guess you're touring, but
So you're doing it twice.
we try to do it once live. But yeah, we were touring.
Oh, so you.
We'll just go live right now. Our mics anyways. You can keep that from
Yeah, let's just.
yeah, change it now. You guys like that song? That was from DJ Pierre's label, actually. You like that one?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hot.
I like that one too.
I think it really drove me to signing it. It was so hot. That's Groove Junkies, Scott K. Groove Junkies.
Shout out to the Groove Junkies. I was scrolling all the releases you had on your label. Afro Acid, I believe it is.
Yeah, Afro Acid and Jack Tracks and Afro Deep.
So I was scrolling, and that one just really jumped out to me because that vocal sample I've heard used a few other tracks, and it's just like religion. You know? That's like on the dance floor, you're just like questioning like why you're here, you know?
Exactly.
But
I think we need to question that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be why we're here on the planet. It could be why are we here in this club?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we listen to this music? Why are we doing what we do right now? I think people need to put more thought to that. Don't just go out and just have no direction.
Mm-hmm. Is that part of it for you when you're, I guess, in control or when you're behind the decks DJing? Is it more than just the music? Are you trying to make a statement or a political thing or a religious like viewpoint?
When I'm DJing and when I come into a venue, I just first of all want to release something positive. You know, hopefully while I'm playing, a healing spirit comes over people, whereas it takes them to another place. So whatever problems they're going through or whatever, it's just gone. You know, we're all just in this place, connected, unified, no matter what race, religion, or whatever's going on. And I've come to find out throughout my travels, it's like that in most countries. And you realize everyone is just the same. And you'll see different religious people dance with one another, and you're thinking, wow, we can combine and get together and dance together. And if we could dance together, then we could live together and we can coexist together. But dance music is the ultimate peacemaker, I believe.
I actually 100% agree. I always say that, just take the people that are at war and just,
Put them in
you
the
know,
club.
put a little Bob Marley on or something
Right,
and all
right, right.
together. It is kind of like a spiritual thing. But so how do we how do we inject that into more people so that they get it? This is something you've been doing your whole life, right?
Well, I believe it takes something, finding that common denominator. And everyone on this planet loves music. And it's just a point of trying to package something that presents a gentle spirit, whereas it doesn't cause thought that will make you think of something that you is different about you and someone else. Just dance music, it kind of like makes you think of all the human elements that make us like just like each other, you know.
Hmm.
Like you get hip hop, rock and roll, everything else, and it can get into talking about certain things that's going to bring division or make you just hype or something, you know. It just creates an energy to make you angry or something. But I think when you're dancing, you're feeling good and you're smiling, you're laughing, and next thing you know, you just feel in love with the moment, you know. And I think whenever you're in love with the moment, you can't you can't be mad.
That's true, man. So what type of influences do you have outside of dance music? Do you find other genres getting into your sets, or do you find yourself listening to anything in particular when you're on a long drive or something?
I very seldomly listen I mean, it has to be a long drive, like hours, for me to really get into listening to a lot of music. Mostly, I listen to things that edify my spirit, my creative spirit, my knowledge, you know, my mind, that elevates my existence and how I feel about things in this world. So I listen to a lot of talk shows and stuff like that, or even YouTube videos or whatever. I kind of like to do that.
So you're not like into Incubus or anything?
Mm-mm. No succubus or incubus. Neither. I rebuke both of those spirits.
So what does put you in your creative zone? What does kind of motivate you and get you into that?
For me, just getting my head right. Like I go to the studio every day, and I wake up. I'm a believer, so I pray, and I just get my mind in the type of spirit that that I need to be in to create, because I create from a positive place. I create from a place of love and a place of happiness. If I'm like angry or upset or down or something, I don't feel like making music.
Hmm.
Like I know a lot of people create from that place and that's cool, but I'm not one of them. I got to create from a place of positivity, or I have a specific direction on something I'm passionate about, and so I'm trying to speak that. But at least it's still directed though, not just I can't just make anything, you know, and I'm feeling angry or something. I don't want to do that. I like to make music that brings out a positive emotion in people.
Well, when you do get down or having a bad day or upset and you don't feel like making music, how do you turn
Snap
it
out of it or something.
around? Yeah.
Well, usually I look at it as like it's funny, but I'm like I think like I'm a computer or something. I'm like, okay, shut down and restart. So usually I'll just go lay down on the couch in the studio for about 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll wake up and I'll be usually in a different mindset, you know, and it's like I'm starting over again or
Hmm.
something.
Just take a nap. I
Definitely.
want to come by your place. It's right up the
Yeah,
street,
right up
right?
the street, man. Come on.
So I was, I make music too, and just yesterday I was looking for a particular sound, and I was like, man, where is that sound from? And then I felt like I remember watching a Dead Mouse video where he pulled up a Roland SH201. So I was like, I think I need a SH201, and I was looking for like a plug-in because I know it's a synthesizer, but I was hoping they had like a computer plug-in for it.
You mean a 101? Or,
No,
oh,
a
they got a. I don't even
201.
know the 201. I'm
Okay.
so the 101 has got me mesmerized. I never even thought about. Okay.
Yeah, so they have a SH201, and I was just scrolling around and trying to find it, which I didn't find a plugin, by the way. So if there is one, someone please comment and tag the SH201 or sell me your vintage one.
Right, right.
Um,
For cheap.
Maybe it was a 101 though. I mean, I might be just talking out of my ass right now, but I was. Anyways, the point of my story is I scroll down to the bottom, and boom, there you are, DJ Pierre 303, and I'm like, oh shit, Pierre's coming over to the studio tomorrow. I click on your video, and it was awesome to see you first of all on Rolling's page, and that's actually your studio on the video, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's the one, yeah,
It
probably.
seems like it was probably
Right,
I've seen
right.
some pictures of you
Yeah, I
in there,
think so. Yeah, that's
which
probably it.
I'd love to check that out. I like all the gear in there. What is your favorite piece of gear in there?
Hmm. Hmm. Favorite piece of gear. Well, I can honestly say the gear that I have the most fun using, even to this day, is still messing around with the Thrill 3 or a TB3 because it's almost like you never know what you're gonna get every time you twist the knob. And also, I like to use it in ways people don't imagine using it. They think that it's only good for making, crazy sounds or acid type sounds, but that's for me. I like to package that in a different way, but still let people still be able to tell it is a Thrill 3,
Hmm.
but hear it being used totally different than they thought it would make sense to use it.
Like throwing it at someone that pisses you off. You ever think about using it that way?
I haven't thought about that because I care about my equipment too much. I'd
Yeah.
rather get a brick.
You seem you seem like you would
I
never
put
do
it
that. You seem
into
like
it.
a real cool, like nice guy. Have you always been cool like your whole life, or did you go through a phase where you were like a pissed off teenager, and or were you always just like fucking
Mm,
cool? You're probably the coolest person I've had in my studio. By the way, this
I
is a big deal for me.
I have always been mild. I always come across mild. I've always been that way, but that doesn't mean that I don't get hype.
Hmm.
Even before I'm about to DJ, I'm just. It looks like maybe I'm gonna sit down and take a nap or something.
Hmm.
But then when the music starts playing,
Yeah,
I
man.
just like wake up. So I get kind of hyped. So I tell everybody I'm just pacing myself.
Hmm. I was living outside of Atlanta for the last 10 years, so I've never really had a chance to see you, but I have seen a lot of your live sets online, and I know you did a Boiler Room set, which is so cool, and it was so hyped to see the crowd and just you, and I just love Boiler Room and that sound system they had in there. And I think you
Yeah,
got another one coming up, don't you?
I think so.
She knows. Are you
Yeah,
playing in
yeah.
Mumbai or anything?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got another one coming. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So you
I
must
try
be out
not
there
to,
right
to
now. You,
think too much in the future. Like
hmm.
I'm. I try to be in the moment.
That's good. Me too.
Because I kind of like don't want to focus on things down the road because it takes me away from what I'm doing at the moment, and I don't want to be distracted.
Hmm. That's good advice if you're listening right now. Try to live in the moment. But I think you just, yeah, I mean, you kind of travel a lot. You're touring a lot, man. You just got back from Australia or like Asia or something. Where were you?
Both like Korea, and then New Zealand, Australia.
And that's just the music right there. The acid sound just speaking to kind of everybody,
Yeah,
right? So do you
it's
find,
it's a sound that has touched every continent, and in everywhere it goes, it's still unique.
do you find that the people that come out to the shows are just in general relatively the same? Or do people react more to your music in one place over another?
Well, I'm playing everything. I'm not just playing acid house, so really it depends on kind of like how much they like whatever music that's going on at the moment, but I always mix it up with tracks, acid, vocal stuff, and even drop some disco up in there. So it depends what mix, but some places get more animated than others, but most places outside of the US are very educated, and I can go anywhere, and it's amazing.
Hmm.
You know, I'm talking 21-year-olds like knowing stuff from the 80s, and that just impresses me. It inspires me. It's like I'm like, wow, these kids are really into it. To be 21, to know music from the 80s mean that you're deep into it.
Hmm.
You're not just on the fringes and know what just came out that year or the year before.
Do you study like ahead of time, or do you kind of just gauge the crowd and you just go off of a wing?
Um, I don't study, but I'll ask the promoter some questions. Usually, he just, oh, just do it, do what you do. You know, do. I'm like, I got you. I'm gonna do what I do. No matter what you say, I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Hmm.
But what is the thing that's cracking over here?
Hmm.
Because one thing I like to do is just totally hit them with something that they wouldn't expect for me to know about. That's in their area,
Hmm.
you know. And then it's like, what? He dropped a whatever, whatever. So I kind of like to do that.
Well, you mentioned disco and 80s music, so I kind of am interested in whether or not you heard about the documentary that came out about Michael Jackson. Is that something we could
Yeah,
talk about? I want to
oh,
know how you feel
absolutely.
about that.
I heard about it, definitely.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it though.
Do you have any like opinions
Like, what is it? What is it saying?
on? I mean, do you have any opinions as a DJ? Because I've been seeing a lot of stuff going back and forth, like people thinking twice now about playing Michael Jackson's music
I
out.
don't agree with the documentary if that's what you want to know.
Okay.
I mean, because I think you're you're taking one these group of people's perspective, and I think there's two sides to it. And the thing that everybody has to realize is that if you're someone like Michael Jackson, trust me, you don't even get close to him until you've gone through 20 people.
Hmm.
So if you done talk to 20 different people, and all these people, it's a group of people to even get to him. And you're not gonna, and when whatever is going on, it's a group of people that knows what's going on. So I would imagine that it has to be a concerted effort to make something like that happen, let it happen, and to keep it under wraps for X amount of time. So I don't really buy into that. I know that I've been in music so long to realize that it's a lot going on behind the scenes. And so much going on that sometimes when you talk too much, or sometimes when people need to change how people see you, stuff will come out that it's like, huh? Where did that come from? And next thing you know, stuff come out. It's like Bill Cosby, whoever. And I just be thinking, okay, this dude in the late 60s done all this stuff to all these Caucasian women, and we don't get away with that. This is America. If that's going on, you're going to be definitely, you going to jail. So for that to come out now, I'm thinking, okay, he was at some big party with all the other folks doing everything they were doing, but he was the one that got kicked to the curb. That's really how I see things. And I just think you just got to know that somebody's going to be a scapegoat.
Were you a Cosby fan back in the day?
Like you mean like
Like the show?
the 90s?
The show?
Oh,
Or
yeah, I
his
was
comedy? Do you watch comedy at all?
not much, but I watched the shows and stuff like that. I used to like the Cosby Kids,
What were
but
you?
I don't have a particular affinity toward Bill Cosby per
Mhm.
se. I'm more of a student of the entertainment world, so I know a lot of things that maybe people who aren't in the know.
Are you
I've been places and I've seen things, so I know stuff. Put it like that. So don't believe the hype when you hear stuff. Trust me.
You were originally from Chicago,
Hmm.
and why did you make your way down to the dirty South?
So I can get dirty. But I came down here, because family, relatives. I got two young daughters, and they have cousins their age, and I'm traveling all the time, and I thought it would be great for them to kind of be able to be around siblings,
Mhm.
family that was their age, because in Chicago, all the family is like mad old, like 18, 19, 20 is the youngest kids. So my children are like
Mhm.
much younger than that. So I wanted them to kind of get that upbringing.
That's cool. Yeah, I kind of did something similar. So you kind of moved down here, and then just, I guess, really you love the city. Is
Oh, what's funny is it's the Wild West out here. Like it just, it's a place. If I go to L.A. or I just come from New York and Chicago, it's like you go somewhere and it's the scene is already there. So it's cool, but I like
hmm
being a part of helping something.
Yeah, it is
So
a
that's the amazing
blossoming
part about
scene
here.
here.
Yeah.
Where do you think it's going in terms of um, house music? And I'd like to get your opinion on where it's going in terms of hip hop, because I'm sure as much house music as you play, you're probably also a little in tune with a little bit of the hip hop that's going on here. I could be
Actually,
wrong.
I'm kind of not, and it's not particularly that's going on here. When hip hop becomes hip hop again, talking about something, then I'll be back in tune
hmm
with it.
I feel you
I
there.
can't tell what people saying on these
hmm
tracks.
I heard one the other day was like, it's a big hit. He's like, I'm out like a light, like a light. I'm like, damn,
That's
there's some
it.
deep ass lyrics right there, man. How did you think of those? So good.
It's funny. The worst part about it is that people don't realize that the fact that they don't need anything more than that to get their attention, they
Yeah.
should think of like, wow, we're pretty much limited. We don't need much to get our attention. It's like it doesn't take much work to get us tuned in.
I guess it's for the younger kind of crowd that doesn't really like to get intellectual or maybe think too much while they're turning up, if you will. Um,
So what's the difference between the younger crowds 10 years ago?
I mean, when I
They
was
wanted to think more.
10 years ago, what was that? I mean, that was still not, that was like post Biggie and Tupac.
Like Ti was cracking, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, T.I. was kind of talking about some stuff. He was cool, but he was definitely talking about a little deeper than light bulbs and Percocets, I guess.
Or how do you think it's like that now?
They ran out of shit to talk about, maybe, and maybe drugs are getting a little bit out of control. I mean, I think we might have a problem underlying some, aspects of our culture right now, and people are using too much to numb the pain. I think is, could be. I hear some lyrics. Miley Cyrus is coming out a couple years ago. Screaming on the MVMA, the music awards. What is it about? Like, just I don't know. It's just too much in your face with stuff. As far as talking about how they use Molly Percocets. I mean, obviously, I'm super white saying that right now. I hate that, but I hope you get what I'm saying in that regard. I just don't think that's gonna really take us anywhere. I
Well,
mean, drugs are cool, but you got to be
do
responsible
you,
with that
do
shit.
you not think it's a concerted effort to dumb us down with the music that's coming out?
I don't think it's like a group of people that are like producing music to make us dumber as a culture. I don't think that's the thing, as if you mean by concerted effort.
Well, maybe the gatekeepers are only letting a certain type of sound come out and control the airwaves.
Maybe.
I didn't say you got all, because all that music is still out there. People are still making real true hip hop. People are still making music talking about all kind of stuff. They just don't get no play. So someone has to be the one
Maybe they
saying
don't get
yes or
any
no.
like big national play, but maybe they get that underground play, which is like why some music is cool anyways, you know? Like when I started listening to dance music, it was cool because not that many people were listening to it. Like I would
Yeah.
hear something on radio and I'd be like, "Fuck, I can't listen to that anymore
Right.
because it's cool now." Like I want to listen to the stuff that like no one knows, you know?
Yeah, that's how we were. You were hyped when a DJ played a joint you never heard.
Mhm.
Nowadays, if they hear a joint they never heard, they like, I never heard that. I'm like, you should be feeling like you're learning something right now.
Mhm.
But they want to only hear everything they heard.
There is those crowds. I feel like you will pull out the different crowds though, the crowds that are there for a journey, you know, are there for
Yeah, I don't know if they're there for a journey, but they're gonna get a journey, and it's a give and take situation, and that's why I like when I'm someplace that is very educated, because that allows me to go basically anywhere, and then I think that's total freedom, and I think that's when you can create a memorable night. Like when you leave there, you're like, wow, I just, for me, music is the only, as far as we know, the only time travel device, because it takes you mentally in a time warp to wherever time period you were in when you heard certain songs. And I think the journey is more about that, more about just reliving just all the great moments in life, you know. And the only way you can do that is to play songs from different eras that will work. And when you leave there, you feel like you just got off a time machine or
Mhm.
something.
What's the most memorable event or thing you've done in the last 2 years, would you say?
Like DJ.
Like
Okay.
DJ? Or like, I don't know, the best sandwich you had or something?
It's the best sound. Well, today's sounds was
Most
pretty
memorable
good.
like DJ gig, you know.
um, wow, I don't know.
You could go back 3 years if you need,
Three. Oh, my memory is limited.
or even 4. I feel
Uh,
you on the memory thing,
you
man. I
know, it's
feel
like
you.
so many gigs round up in there. But we were just talking about an amazing set that happened about 5 years ago. At I forgot the name of that festival. What was that festival? Okay, I can't read lips.
You can talk. There's other people in the room right now, by the way. If you guys are watching this, feel free to ask Pierre a question. You can comment or ask him something. You know, we got Duke up in the. He's he's a producer too. But anyways,
Well,
what festival did you say? Outside Lands, San Fran, the house music,
yeah, but
not capital of the
it
world.
was that big old thing. Elton John was on one stage. It was some kind of big old. She said San
The
Francisco
Love Parade,
Festival.
Outside Lands.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that one.
That was good.
And
What was it about
the
that?
set was crazy because it's one of those sets that everything just went where it went, and it was no thought put into it for the whole time period. Like it wasn't a point in time where I was actually trying to think what did I wanted to play next or something. It's just everything just clicked,
Hmm.
and
It's the
that
best. You
yeah,
don't
it
even
was
think it's
crazy.
all second nature. And you're
Yeah,
just
it's
being
like
a
bam,
conduit.
bam, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and the
Yeah.
thing is, I can never, when it's nice like that, I can never take credit for that because it's a mixture. It's like a give and take.
Hmm.
And when you have a great audience, then that connects to me and it makes me better. And
Hmm.
so together we create this incredible experience. So and they think it's me. Like they're attributed all to me. And
Hmm.
I'm sitting here like thinking, wow, these guys were amazing. You know, cause and I'm saying that because they made me feel something that caused me to give them a lifetime experience.
Hmm.
So it's a give and take.
So, what do you travel with now? I'm assuming you. How long ago did you ditch the vinyl?
A long time ago, dude. I started playing CDs and stuff.
Hmm.
I would say like 2000. I don't know, early 2000s. I might have like first started like carrying vinyl and CDs, and then eventually made a transition to CDs, and then went from CDs to flash drives and stuff.
Yeah, because I saw you have a release coming out, kind of like a homage to one of your earlier tracks, and it's coming out on vinyl.
Yeah, it's called the Acid Box 35 release, and it's just throughout the year. It's gonna be different vinyl releases, and it's gonna total up to 35 remixes of
Hmm.
acid tracks.
I saw Kink as one of your remixers. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah,
I'll be getting
yeah.
that one.
Oh, dude, it was dope. That dude threw down on that mix the same day I gave him the parts.
Sick.
He was like finished.
Nice. Where do you know where he's from?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but he's from a place that is not like in a mecca of house music.
Hmm.
So it's quite his story is quite incredible, and you would think so because for him to rise to who he is, he would have to be incredible for that to happen. Like just the average person couldn't have come out of there.
Hmm.
You know, it would have to be somebody that was like
Right.
amazing. You know, because it took that just to be known. You know,
Hmm. You ever play Ibiza?
yeah.
I heard about him in Ibiza last summer by shazamming a track at Pacha. I was just on the dance floor. I got blasted by the ice nitrous machine, and I just was like, "Man, this is the most incredible track I've ever heard." It's called Five. So if you're listening, type that shit in. Kink
Mhm.
Five, or maybe don't. I don't know. I want that to be my secret. Nobody knows song.
Exactly. I hear you on that.
But it's so good, and it always takes me back to Ibiza over the summertime. Do you have any shows out there anytime in the next anything?
Usually my shows come in within the next couple of weeks for Ibiza, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing out there, but I'll definitely be out there.
I see you in Miami. I'm headed there next week.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna be doing a panel, right, at the WMC.
Yeah, this panel with Irving Welch called "The House That Acid Built," I think.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that's about, when that is, and let's talk about the acid sound. I guess. I mean, does the acid sound come? Was that the name of the preset on the Roland? Like, does that come from a Roland synth, or where does that sound
Yeah,
come from?
rolling TV 303
So was that the preset on there, or where does the name acid come from?
preset acid.
Yeah, I'm saying like
You know what?
that's what Daru's
It would have been
sandstorm was.
nice if it was that simple, but it's just like a machine that was created to emulate a bass guitar, and I guess it didn't really emulate the bass as well as they wanted it to. But when I came across it, I was going to try to use it to emulate a bass guitar, but I got interrupted by twisting the knobs and enjoying the crazy sounds that it made. So it's like it never got its chance to do the bass guitar with me.
Hmm.
I just started twisting the knobs and stuff, and we thought it sounded electrifying. Like it just when you're young and something just tickles your ears, you just keep doing it because you just like how it feels, and that's what we did, and we put a beat to it, and then it created that acid sound that's never been done before.
That's a good. I like that metaphor or analogy. Tickles your ears. I find myself doing that too. I'm just like as you're creating music, you're like,
And
oh, that's
everybody's
really like nice.
right.
I'm
You
gonna
like
just
that
leave
little
that in the
sound.
project, and I'll continue until something else tickles the ears, and then eventually they all just
But
kind of mesh.
and the incredible thing is like a lot of times people are like, well, they didn't no one did it before them, and they're so amazed. People just can't believe it, but it has to be someone has to do something first,
Hmm.
you know. And the thing is like usually it's all about personality when you're confident enough to trust what you like, no matter what it sounds like, and give it a
Hmm.
chance, flow with it, and say, "I like this,"
Hmm.
and keep it. It sounds like nothing else, but I like it,
Hmm.
you know. And that's really kind of what we did, and that's how that sound was able to come out. Because I'm pretty sure people had the Thrill 3 before and heard sounds that it made, but they were trying to just turn the knobs to set it in one setting. And that's what people don't realize. Technically, acid is really the twisting and turning of the knobs as it as the music plays. So you're performing, twisting the knobs,
Mm-hmm.
and up until that point, there never has been a synthesizer that was actually made to mess with the levels and all the variations and stuff like that, and filters and stuff while the sound was playing. It was just made to find the sound you like and leave it.
Mm-hmm.
So we totally did something totally different. We were like constantly turning the knobs and stuff. So that's what was the really crazy breakthrough thing about it. But the funny thing is, people keep acting like the machine did it by itself. So then they'll go like some years before we touched it and say, well, this guy used the 303, so he was making acid. I'm like, he wasn't twisting no knobs. He ain't do what we were doing. That's what made the machine make acid, what we did to it. But the machine, for me, was the one machine that you could have twisted the knobs to make something crazy like that with.
Mm-hmm.
So it still had to be us and that particular machine together, I would say.
Is there another machine that they make that makes similar kind of sounds?
No,
That's the one, huh?
not at that point in time. But check it out now. What happens now? Everything that comes out. Oh yeah, you could perform, twist the knobs, filter, and no one was doing that before we
Mm-hmm.
did that. And it's funny how people don't even actually make that connection. They don't think and say, "Wow, you know what? Not only was that sound created, but it changed the way all these companies made synthesizers.
Mm-hmm.
It's done that as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that right there is another incredible breakthrough
Did it
that
have a step sequencer
we're
on it?
responsible for.
Did that have a step sequencer on it?
No,
No.
it had a tap sequencer, and well, it's a sort of step sequencer, I guess. Yeah, it kind of sort of is, but we usually tapped our rhythms in there.
Mm-hmm. So what is that panel about? Is discussing.
It's talking all things acid house, the whole reach that it's had in bringing forth of the rave parties and festivals and stuff, because they only started doing rave parties because of the acid house uh, movement. They were trying to they would get out in the fields and
Mm-hmm.
just play all these acid tracks and stuff like that. And that rave thing actually urged in the festival
What
scene.
were raves in Chicago like back then?
They weren't outside. They were mostly
I
in
want
these
some
big
details.
warehouses,
Yeah.
you know.
Like
So,
what kind of like tell like paint the picture for me, man, because I wasn't there for that, but I can
well,
just know that that's the birthplace of a lot of cool shit probably happened right there.
well, the thing is, it was just like people dressed up for them. Like
Like in big baggy pants or like
people dressed
ties?
down for raves. Now people dressed up.
Oh, okay.
So we would buy
Cool.
expensive pants and
Mm-hmm.
shoes and just to look real, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I
How
can't
did people
really.
find out about these parties?
Oh, they weren't like secrets because it was like sanctioned parties. It wasn't like how it was in the UK and in Europe, how they had to literally like go secretly go somewhere and do a party. So it'll be massive promotions on these parties and stuff like that. So it's pretty easy to find it.
Mm-hmm. So, and you have what shows are you doing in Miami while you're there?
Um, I'm doing our yearly like label show at Do Not Sit. I don't even remember what day that is. I think it's the 27th, maybe. I don't
Do you
know.
remember? Because I want to go. I want to tell people.
Wednesday,
Wednesday, the
the 27th,
27th in Miami.
9
What's it
p.m. to
called?
5
Sweet?
p.m. Sweet.
Yeah, and
Do you go to Miami every year?
every year.
Every like, what does Miami, the conference and the music week? What does that kind of mean to you?
It, for me, is a huge part of the foundation of this music. It was the first big type of situation that people would come from other cities and countries to hear this music in one place, you know? And whereas the whole city was all only about this music. So it means that to me. And for that reason, I would always support WMC because they brought more awareness to the music by doing what they were doing.
Hmm.
So that's it's kind of like just getting back in touch with your roots. You know,
How?
everybody you get to see everybody that you never get to see. You know, all your counterparts. You know, like you're like, whoa, what's up? You know, everybody's happy to see each other. You know.
How do you think it's changed over the years, or
Um,
has it? I think.
yeah, it's definitely changed. I think that it's gotten a bit more big business,
Mhm.
commercial. You know, like before it was so much about breaking new music and stuff like that. And you went there because you needed to see what was going to be the new track that was going to be the biggest track in Miami. Now it's not like that anymore. It's not like you're going there to hear the biggest track. I mean, it's totally different because music um, isn't really broken by the DJ as much as it used to be. You know, in the past. In the past, it used to be broken by certain DJs because of
Mhm.
vinyl. You know, so that meant that you had a limited number of vinyl and DJs that had that vinyl, and they would be playing it for a certain length of time. So it gave people time to really kind of let it simmer and then blow up. Now it seems like music don't get a chance to simmer anymore, and people don't stay on a song as long as they used to in the past. So it's a lot different now.
Do you ever wish that it was different and it was back in the vinyl days?
I wish that people appreciated the music the way they appreciated it in the vinyl days.
You say the people. Um, you need to elaborate more because I go to Miami and I appreciate the shit out of a lot of music down there. So I think they're still the true appreciators.
When I say appreciate the music, I mean appreciate it as something of a collector's item. See, when you don't have a physical thing to hold in your hand, to look at, to smell, it's not much of a collector's item. So when the song is old and played out, you don't have any nostalgia looking at who made it, picking the record up, reading the producers and all the people that did stuff in the background. It's not much for you to connect to. So when I say connection to it and appreciation, I mean from that level, not just, oh, I love this song or I love
Hmm.
that song. I mean from a level of feeling like when you spend your money on something,
Hmm.
you sit there looking at it and you're like, this is mine. Man, you can't borrow this. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if somebody borrow your record, man, where's my record at? Give it back.
Hmm.
It's none of that going on anywhere. So that means that we don't have, it's a different
Give
connection,
it back.
you know.
For real though, man. I wish that it would kind of go a little bit more back into a little bit more of a uniqueness where I mean production is awesome. Like
But think of how good of it feels though. How can you get too unique if some people can have something and some people can't? If you're dealing with a physical item, that means it's going to be gone and it's only here for now. And if you're one of the people that got it, guess how many other DJs don't have it? And when you walk into that party, you're like, yeah, I got some joints. Nobody heard these joints. They were dying to get these. So sometimes stuff is too accessible. So we hear house music constantly all over the internet. Anytime you want it, you can hear it. But what that does is that cheapens it out as well. I mean, you have to have some kind of way, whereas when you go to the club, you could hear something different there than what you're hearing on the internet. If you hear the exact same stuff, then when you go to the club, you're not going there to hear something you're not used to hearing or something you might not have heard. it has to be about the club. Oh, this club is amazing. This club, this club. It's different. If it's your favorite DJ, you hear him anytime on the internet. Well, yeah, I was just listening to him earlier today. But it used to be like you couldn't hear these cats. And when they in town, bam, you there. So you appreciate a lot of things differently then. And if you weren't around then, you can't know what I'm saying from from the perspective of being like, wow, something's missing, because you only know what you have now, and it's great to you now. But I'm like, okay, it was something so much more.
I'm not that young, but I am, you know,
You're
I guess
low,
in
yeah.
a different, I hide it well, man. But I got some experience on me, man. I've been going to Miami since like 99, I think was the first time. I mean, I know that's like I'm young or whatever, but I got to see it change
That's not
too.
bad. You
know?
went
It's like
before
20 years.
2000.
20 years.
So
I got my WMC bags in there with the
Exactly,
stitching on the side
yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
I started on records, so I kind of like, I've been paying attention to how things
I'm
change.
sort of
and,
mad that people can't start on vinyl. I want them to
yeah, go
break
through-
their back
Yeah.
and have trouble carrying these record boxes,
Yeah.
bust their kneecaps and all kind of stuff.
Have the adrenaline go when some girl like has her drink near your turntable. You're like, ah.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, one of the last times I was playing vinyl, literally, I was in Italy, and this guy just straight up reached out and just scratched my record.
Oh,
Like, I don't mean
man.
scratch it, the needle crossed it, but he's like, I was like mortified. I was like,
Yeah.
this dude, did he just stop my record? And
What'd you do?
I was like, I'm like, it's like never happened to me before. I'm thinking, what the heck?
If you're just listening to this over audio, Pierre's making a really, really funny face right now. He is very upset at this band. Yeah, that's happened to me too, but never a man, just girls. Just,
A girl did that too.
yeah.
Like, because she's a girl. I'm a girl. So, I think I'm cute. So I'm going to go do this. And you're like, no, you're not that cute.
Yeah, that is kind of frustrating. I mean, there's good and bad with the whole vinyl thing. It's good now that you don't have to. They're pretty reliable. I've never really had a CDJ kind of mess up, with the exception of like in the heat. Sometimes I've had them like playing outside.
Or
and
if people aren't taking care of them, you get
Mhm.
people that they're, they don't get them, what do you call it? Cleaned and
Yeah, they
all
look like
serviced
the
and all that
club.
stuff,
Yeah. What would you like to see? I'm going to play Lars right now. What would you like to see in the next CDJ? Like, what kind of technology would you want implemented into your DJ sets that you don't already have right now?
As far as like, you mean?
It could be anything. It could be a button that gets you a drink. It
Oh,
could
okay,
be
that's what you mean. Okay.
You control the lights. It could be like 2 stop buttons. Like, what would help your sets from a technology standpoint in the studio and on the stage?
In the studio, no, on the stage. Well, I think on the stage, for me, I believe that I really wish that I can feel the vinyl, have that feeling that I'm really messing around with vinyl. So in terms of like when you're DJing, I like that feeling of the record that keeps moving when I touch it, and I got to catch it. And it's not like that with
Did you ever mess with those new marks that kind of tried that back in the day?
I did. I had, that's the first ones I got it was a Newmark. It was like Denon.
Denon did it, yeah. Denon
Yeah.
and Newmark.
So
Newmark
I
the-
did like it. I did like it. I liked those. Those were pretty cool.
They didn't take off though, huh?
Yeah, they didn't take off, and they still do them like that. Actually, I think now. But
Rain just made some. I
Yeah.
think they should take off. I share you in that. It would be nice to have like a digital kind of platform record that would
yeah, I think that
make it a
that
little more
only the
tangible.
problem with that is that, I mean, it's not a problem, but the thing I would say with that is they should have really came big with it, so that when you're going from vinyl to CDJs, that would have made sense. But now for them to come with it or to continue with it, it will make sense to someone like myself. But
Totally.
Even but
They might have missed
someone that
it.
never touched vinyl before, they're
Right.
not gonna be. They don't miss it.
Yeah.
They don't even know about it, so they're gonna think it's weird.
That makes total
It
sense.
affect them differently.
Hmm. Well, what about in the studio then?
Studio,
You
studio.
probably have everything you could ever dream of. Would
Yeah.
anything else make your tracks better?
Anything else? I don't know. I mean, equipment for me, equipment. I don't think of equipment making me like better. Like I think of me making equipment better. So I can't really think of something that I need to get to be better. But I would have to hear something and I'll have to say, okay, I could do this with that. But for the most part, I think I don't want to have a bunch of gear just to have it. And I believe people think the more the better. And I
That used
think,
to be me. I thought I needed
yeah,
everything, and then I was like, I don't.
that's not
I need
true.
just a couple things that I know how to use, and the first thing we talked about, which was the ability to get myself in the creative mindset to actually sit down and make stuff.
I think
That's the hardest
you're
thing.
the most creative when you have to be, which means the less you have, the more creative you have to be. And when you have less, you're going to be darn creative because you got to figure out how to make that junk
Hmm.
do something you like, you know. So when you have all this stuff, you end up not really pushing the boundaries on anything. And I think people don't understand that. They think they need to have this machine to be creative, and I just say no. Never get in the mindset of depending on something else to bring out your creativity. You bring your creativity to whatever it is you're messing with.
Hmm.
Because I want to put my mind on that thing and see what it can do. I don't want it the other way around.
Hmm.
I never thought that way.
So,
And then if you do it that way, you'll always be different because you're doing something that's manifested from inside you instead of the other way around.
100%. Which I have this written down. What advice do you give to kids today trying to make music? And that I would say is
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
part of
That
it.
right there.
Hmm.
I think that I never get any new piece of gear until I've exhausted my creativity with what I already have.
That's good. Well, speaking of creativity, I mean, you obviously are like, I mean, you have accomplished a lot. Let's just say that. A lot of people call you a legend. I think you're a legend. What do you have any more goals? I mean, you've achieved so much. Is there anything else that you're looking to do, or are you just kind of like taking what it is and just going going forward?
Well, it depends how many hours you want me to talk. But I can say that a billion things just came to mind. But
That's
let me
good.
start with this. What I want to do is start, which I'm working on now, is putting together a type of camp that's tied to music, whereas it's going to be a different process to teaching people how to use the equipment, DJing and all that kind of stuff. And what it will be is you're not just going to walk in and go straight to Serato or CDJs. You have to you have to work with analog, meaning if you're going to start with drum machines, because people are trying to figure out how to bring more individualism to music, and you have to first learn how to create from that soulful place that's all your own. And when you're using so many ideas from the computer and pre-programmed things, you're borrowing from someone else's creativity in creating something. And I'm not saying that that's bad and that's wrong, because it's available to do, and I do it as well. But I also know how to pull from myself. And when you're thinking with your mind, your brain, and your eyes, you're not creating from the heart and the soul. You're creating from the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a place of emotion. You're not tapped in. So you have to go backwards and learn how to get tapped in. And you have to go, that means you have to work with analog gear. You have to go backwards to that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bring it forth. And then you'll be twice as good as anyone else because you'll be combining both worlds.
I agree with that because if you're taking from too much that's not within, like you
Right.
said, it just becomes like watered down, and it's not going to strike
Well,
the soul.
well, think about this. When I used to do a mix, it's like the 24 track board or whatever, you label all the stuff on there, and you think of all those records throughout the 90s and stuff. It's like, all right, everybody ready? Y'all ready? All right, hit play. The whole time it's like a DJ set. It's like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I only have the beginning. That's it. I just had the beginning worked out. After that, I'm hitting the buttons. It's like bam. It's like whoa, that was hot. Boo, 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 boo. And then at the end, wow, that was good. That right there is a moment in time saved. So every time you hear that song, you hear that energy, you feel that spirit from that exact moment. Now, man, this track could have been made for a whole month. Oh yeah, I was going back and forth, it's all schizophrenic, it's disjointed and stuff. And I think that doesn't come through when you hear it. It comes through as not like a thing that just spiritually happened. It's too perfect. It's not a performance. You got to think of it. It's like a live performance, and it's recorded in a way.
So I guess it sounds like you're going to create like almost like a school or a mentorship program.
I want it to be. It's going to start off more as a traveling thing at different festivals and stuff.
Okay.
Whereas it could be
partner
set
with
aside.
anyone, or is it going to be?
Yeah, we're talking to a couple of people now to get it going.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Do you have like a target age range, or are you just focus on
Well,
anyone who's interested in
what I
creating?
want to do is not have it for anyone, but have it for like more of a like a contest sort of people submitting music, and then we're picking people and letting them flying them and everything, getting them in there free. If it's like a 3 or 4 day festival, first day is all analog. No, the first day is going to be talking, teaching, and then you're going to go to the analog. And then the last day, get on the gear, see what you make now. Like to see how that impacted how you think,
So, I mean, what was the aha moment for you? Like, when did you just fall in love with the music?
Like making it or DJing
Just
it?
ingesting it.
I think it was probably when I was like about 12. Yeah, when I really started recording music off the radio and stuff.
Yeah, like
And-
off the tape player.
Yeah, off the
or-
tape player. Then I started pause button mixing and all that stuff, and that really sucked me in. And I only started doing that when I inadvertently lift up the pause button on beat, and when I listened to the thing back, when that I was like one track was going, and then boof, it went to the other one. I was like, what? I
Yeah.
said that was on beat. I was like, wait a minute. I said, all right, I know I'm gonna do next time. I'm gonna make sure I always lift up on beat. And then after that, I started doing that. Then I got the double cassette players, and I started, oh man, I'm gonna make this section longer. So I'll record this from this one to that one, and I started doing
Was
that.
that in Chicago?
Yeah.
What were you like as a kid, and what was your family like supporting that, or did they want you to
They
be like
didn't
a
know about
dentist or
that.
something?
They didn't know about that right there.
Yeah.
Only me and my friends knew about that. And then we started having battles. Like every week, they'd come with their little pause button mixes. I'll do mine. And next thing you know, one time I had this cheap tape. And when I lift up the button and recorded the next song, the other song was bleeding in the background, and it blended for like 8 beats. I was like, wow. I said, oh. I got something. They don't know nothing about this. So I wouldn't tell nobody how I did it. I said, I'm going to buy these cheap tapes and it's not going to record over it right away. So it was like, how'd you do that? I was like, I ain't telling you.
It's cool. Yeah, you got to keep your little trade secret sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you knew from then on it was just going to be what you were doing.
No, it is, I mean, you're 13. I mean, you're not thinking about nothing. I ended up like DJing. I wanted to be a DJ though. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a DJ on the radio. I wanted to be in the Hot Mix 5. And I never achieved that goal. But I started making music, and because my friend Spanky, he was like, Pierre, we could make this music. Pierre, I'm gonna get a drum machine. But I'm like, a drum machine? What is that? Because I play in band. I played the tritoms. I played all the drums, snare drum, and all that stuff. I was like, a drum machine? And you got to think, that kind of technology is not heard of. So I'm like, what is a drum machine? He's like, oh, it's this little thing that has buttons on it, and it's like a box, and you hit it, and it has the drum sounds in it. And I was thinking, how can that be possible? Because I think in terms of like, well, how does that happen? So I went home. I would lay in the bed at night, dreaming about this box that has buttons on it, and I just kept thinking, how big is that box? Because I kept thinking of all the drum gear. I was thinking, it's got to be a big box. So I was like corny. I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. And then so after about 8 months, finally, he'd tell me every week, I'm going to get it. I was like, yeah, whatever. And when he got it, went by his house, and I was
he
just
got it.
Full,
And
yeah, he got it,
shit,
and I
right?
played with his.
That's how I got started.
I played
my
with
rich
his.
friend got turntables, and I went over to his house and I played.
Right.
For a while. You still keep up with Spanky?
Spanky unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. Now he was my partner in the group Future. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. So he was the one that was kind of like, Pierre, I'm gonna get the drum sheet. Pierre, we can make this music. Pierre, that ain't house music. What is that you playing? I was playing like hip hop ish, African Bombada, some other stuff, freestyle. He was like, man, you still scratching? He was always complaining. I was like, what are you talking? Because he came from Chicago, and I lived out about an hour outside in the suburbs of Chicago. So what was happening in underground Chicago hadn't yet reached that area, and he just moved there. So all he would talk about is, man, you got to hear Ron Hardy. You got to hear this person. Man, they play this. They don't play that stuff. And he was always frowning up, But, yeah. So he took me to the music box. And after I went there, I was like, oh,
was that a club
snap.
or a record store?
A club.
Yeah, cool. Was that like...
This guy named Ron Hardy played there. He was the first person to play acid tracks. And because of him, that's how it even got the name Acid Track.
Do you remember Halo here? The club Halo?
Yeah, vaguely. I don't know if I've been there before.
I miss, that place used to be real dope back in the day. They had some real good music coming through there. I miss it. It's closed now. I think they're going to reopen. I don't know what the music's going to be like, but I sure hope it's house music.
Is there an underground? Is there a true underground here in Atlanta?
I heard there was. Underground Atlanta. Yeah, I like the scene here, It's got a lot of people coming through. I think things are coming in the music scene it's growing, it's changing. It's like what you said, the Wild West.
Yeah. I'd love it to grow to the point of being able to have a weekly house night that's the same resident that's bam every week, and people are actually coming there because they enjoy the culture of the music. And I think that will be an amazing thing to see. And I think from that point,
I agree, because residents, when you put a resident in a club, he gets to know that sound of the club sound system, the sound of the DJ booth, the crowd that's coming in, the vibe that it's putting out, the city, and he gets to practice and build up
and connect to the
night.
people to a point where it's, and he's, people are learning and growing in the music, and it becomes a strong foundation. And that would be amazing to have at particular venues. But I find it's always like the monthly thing.
And
It's
you know
hard
what
to
that
get a
is,
weekly
right?
thing
It's
going.
because the people would like new DJs to bring in people, and it's like a different train of thought.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I mean, it does work both ways, but I think in the long run, for building a real foundation and a solid, consistent scene every night,
yeah.
I share that same opinion there.
All right, better you say it than me.
Cool, man. Well, I mean, I could talk for a few more hours, but
I got work to do.
yeah, I know. I'm gonna let you get out of here, but now that I know your place is right up the street, I'm gonna come knocking on your door, bugging you all the time. Let me show me those 303s and the SH101. Do you have a SH101 or?
You know what? I do not have one. You know, I got to contact my people at Roland. You know,
Yeah.
who've been. I work with them very well.
Did they just give you a lifetime achievement award or something?
Oh yeah, actually,
You
yeah.
didn't mention that before when you're very modest. I
I,
appreciate that.
yeah,
That's
I
very
didn't.
cool. I like
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
cool.
That was
It's a big deal, man.
I was very thankful for that because I was the first electronic music producer DJ to get that award. They usually give it to rock stars or R&B producers. You know, Jammin Lewis got it the last time, and before that, Thomas Dolby got it. So for me to get it is quite an achievement for to me for house music. You know, it's because when it's breaking new ground. Every time a barrier is broken, that's good for the whole scene. You know, I think everyone should be excited that we're getting recognized more and more. You know.
Yeah, very cool. Shout out to you for that. Shout out to Roland for innovating. Shout out to Pioneer, to Newmark, to Rain, to all the companies making gear that lets us do
What we do
what we do.
helps us create what we create.
We didn't mention at all Wild Pitch, but shout out to Wild Pitch. If you guys want a good experience, head out to Wild Pitch and get a good night's dance on the floor, listen to some house music.
Definitely got one of the most banging for that size venue sound systems by DOS, the DOS Audio Sound Force.
Shout out to the District, Liquified's residency there every Friday night. You could catch DJ Sasha there this Friday. You could catch Tritonal at the Buckhead Theater this Friday. Be on the lookout for some promo codes, maybe. I don't know. Hint, hint. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Did anybody by any chance?
Oh, thanks for having me on the show. Thanks
totally,
to Liquified
dude.
and
Of
all you
course.
guys for
Legend.
inviting me. Appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming over. Is there anything anybody you want to shout out or anything you want to say before you bounce out?
I think I'm
Get
good.
everything off
Thanks for
your chest?
everybody who tuned in.
Totally.
Much appreciated.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see ya. Peace out.
All right.